Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, life could be a little bit miserable, life could be a little bit dark, so we're here to bring you as much light and as much joy as we possibly can, because once again, I'm Bradley, and this week I'm joined by the person who hasn't depicted themselves as Jesus recently, but's gone one better, depicted themselves as God. That's Stu. How you doing, Stu?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm born on the 24th of December, so I'm late in the evening as well, so I was very close to being the new Messiah, or the return of the Messiah.
Instead, you're just a very naughty boy.
Exactly. Did you see that was one of the headlines in the British papers?
I haven't, no.
Yeah.
I kind of saw the whole thing and just went, oh, Christ.
Yeah.
The best reaction I've seen to it is, do you ever catch any of The Daily Show?
Not really, no.
Jon Stewart is back on The Daily Show. He doesn't do every night, but he does a couple of the segments a week. And he's gone through it, and the picture of the person he's resurrected has got a bit of Jon Stewart about him. So they spent about 5 minutes mocking that. Or the other one is it looks a bit like Jeffrey Epstein.
It did.
Is the other one I've seen. I'm just like, oh, Christ.
It's funny that AI just associates Trump with Epstein, so they put like an Epstein lookalike in there automatically.
Yeah. I did like one of the ones that did make me laugh was the saying like AI can do all this stuff, right? So you put in your keywords like depict me as Jesus, and then with a glowing orb and all that, and sort of like all these things, but it still made Donald Trump fat.
Yeah.
No, can't do that. That's too much.
Yeah, I'm semi-sentient, but I'm not that stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, it was honestly the idea of I didn't depict myself as Jesus. I really thought he was going to follow that up with "I am Jesus" when he said that.
Yeah,
it really sounded like that's what he wanted to say. And then he went, "It's a doctor." Like, what sort of weird doctors are you going to?
I heard somebody talking about that, and they said they think that the press corps told him to say that it was doctored, and he just, because he's so stupid, thought that he had to say that he was a doctor, which that would fit, because if you remember when he was going on about like all of these people coming into his country and they were all from an asylum, and it was probably because they're asylum seekers, and he was like, oh,
seeking asylum.
Yeah, they're all Hannibal Lecter. It's like, no. Yeah.
Like when your child overhears a conversation and they just they don't know context or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, they come up to you going, did I hear you saying you're going to overthrow the capitalist patriarchy? And you're like, no, son, of course not.
No, don't you tell anyone.
Exactly.
Anyway, talking of AI bullshit, stuffed everywhere, video games.
Yeah, absolutely. Video games.
Before we go into what we've been playing, there's one that comes through. It's like on Press Engine, and there's obviously they're just a host for people to promote their games and stuff like that to get them out to people. And there's one on there called Corpus something or other, or Corpus DM or something. It's some kind of, but it says it's like completely AI generated video game. And one of the things, I got an email the other day about it, and it's kind of about 118 updates in 2 weeks, something only AI-generated games can do. And I'm like, one, fuck off. Two, that's not a good thing.
It's not a brag, is it, really?
How broken was your game to start with that your AI that built it's going, no, we got to fix this.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't inspire you with confidence, does it?
No, I mean, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole anyway. There's a couple of games that I want to play that I'm not getting because they've just used AI for even stuff like profile pictures, and one of them said they used it for some promotional art, and I'm just like, well, no, that's a sale gone.
Yeah,
I'm not. That's someone's job. Are you taking it by giving it to AI? So yeah, no. Like one of them's a really a decent pool game, and I've played their older games like Pure Pool, and they've used it, and I was like, well, no. The only one, there's one called Pure Badminton. It's the only one where I'm kind of unsure because it said it used an AI model for translation of stuff. They're a Singaporean company, I think they're from. They use an AI translation for stuff, and they've had it proofread by native speakers as well. And I'm like, oh, no, is that old school AI where AI translation, which is something we've always had and uses. Here's a language that we know, and someone has done the work to say this word matches this word, and then we do the translation using AI to pick it up, which is a purpose-built AI, or are you doing generative AI and using that to replace even that someone's made? And it's so murky at the moment. The whole thing is just a mess.
It is. It's very difficult for the consumer. There should be laws and rules around these sorts of things that make it easy for you to spot. But there won't be.
I mean, Steam does what it does. Like, you've got to declare it, but then there's controversy around Graveyard Keeper 2, where the developer or the publisher, one of them, has talked about using AI in the past, but hasn't apparently used AI for their current game, but people don't trust them. And basically they've not declared anything to do with AI on Steam, which means technically that should mean they haven't used AI, but all it is Steam saying, if you do it, you've got to do it, or you break terms of service. So it's kind of like, doesn't mean they haven't used AI, it just means they're not declaring it and they're hoping to get away with it, or does it mean they've... So again, even if you've got the thing, I can trust Steam, which you can on the whole, because most people are putting it in because you have to, you still got to take a developer's word for it. And if they've got history for it in the past, do you take their word for it?
Very murky, yeah. And also, how do you audit whether somebody has or they hasn't? Because I'm sure Steam haven't got the resources to check every single game for every single aspect. So
maybe they should use an AI algorithm. No.
That would be the irony.
YouTube's done that in the past. It doesn't go well.
God, I bet not. Bet it doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's even sort of like when they've used a purpose-built thing. This is why I hate it being AI. It's because it's Gen AI. We've got to talk about. If we're not talking about AI, AI has been around since the dawn of computers. It's artificial intelligence. It's been around. But usually that means it's purpose-built by someone to perform a task. Gen AI is not that. Gen AI steals assets. And that's where I think if it's getting murky now, because whenever you talk about AI, there is AI that's useful and worth having, and it's a good tool. Gen AI is not that, but you've got to always try and differentiate what you're talking about. And that's where I think a lot of developers as well, some of them are falling over themselves because they don't know where they fall.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's confusing terms. You know, they've used AI in a very, very general, broad sense, just so that it can be something that people can latch onto. But LLMs and generative, they're not really anything to do with what we understand as classic AI. So
yeah. I mean, the Google AI, even that's not Gen AI. That's like it's crap, and I don't use it because usually it's just like a collection of information that it's then tried to reword. So I get that. That's like AI as you would expect AI to be, like your Alexas and things like that. That's what AI is to me. I mean, again, don't forget, it's told people who have had to deal with depression, go and kill yourself and stuff like that. And it gets it wrong a lot of the time, and it should never be trusted. But that's AI that's acceptable AI still. It's bullshit, and you never trust it as a source of this is 100% irrefutable content, but that's AI as it should be used, as it was designed to be used, taking information that's there and presenting it to you. Gen AI is stealing work and then creating its own thing and claiming it as its own. And yeah, I don't want to see a world where you could just type in whatever, make this, because that's not creative at all.
No, I don't think nobody wants to live in that world, apart from the people who are going to make money. That's it. The lazy people who don't do anything at the top already and just cream all the money off other people. That's where that's who wants it, and that's it.
Yeah, I'd rather play Sonic 4.
Oof! Oh bloody hell!
It was bad, but do you know what? At least it was made by humans.
Yeah, it was human bad. Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, or monkeys. I mean, possibly
Runs,
monkeys.
it runs like, they tried to do the Shakespeare experiment.
It does.
With Sonic, and that's what was created.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yes,
we've not been playing AI bullshit, I hope. So ask the questions, Stu.
Yeah. So what non-AI bullshit have you been playing?
Well, I've had enough of this world, and I decided that all will fall. All will fall. Because that's what I've been playing, all will fall.
Aha.
Which, And it's a kind of post-apocalyptic city builder. Essentially, it's Waterworld, the game. But not all the action sequences and everything. It's the admin behind Waterworld.
Exciting.
Oh no, it is. It's pretty good. So basically, the world has been completely flooded for whatever reason, and pockets of humans are surviving on remnants of cities that still float or sit above where the oceans are flooded and everything. And it's your job as a policymaker there to rebuild civilization. And so you'll have this small plot of land that, it could be a shipwreck, it could be maybe the top of a skyscraper, just something that's barely above the water. And then you've basically got to build. You kind of got to find bits of old scrap from around, like on the building where you are, and you expand out. Maybe from some floating parts from shipwrecks or bits that maybe have come floated from elsewhere. And you've got to use all that and rebuild society, build people homes, and then a typical thing, you settle, you expand, advance, and end up dominating. And with this is really good because you build vertically and horizontally, and even though you are given a small area to start with, by using your expertise of using wood to build platforms and then build bridges, you can expand out to other areas. You can sort of like blow things up to get the resources, etc., etc., etc. And it's a really interesting game in terms of the way it's structured. So I've played through a few hours of it, and it's like this story-based tutorial level to start with of, this is how you do the things, and we are just settling up our most basic camps in this area, but we can expand out. But it's essentially all the mechanics, and then each one is just kind of like this campaign scenario mission, and it comes together really well and creates this really interesting story. And you go from creating like these urban wreckage areas to you can find islands, you can build like a tropical island and things like that. There's loads of expanding you can do from it. And then it's got two other modes to it where I think I'm going to spend most of my time with this game. It's got a sandbox mode, which is really good, which is just like you've got the mechanics in place, but everything's unlocked and you can build that way, but you can still have almost like a loose state and stuff like that. There's also a paint mode, and all city builders must have this, where you are just given your lands, you put it down, and you paint, and you just create your city. Just know whatever's about it. You want to put a building there, building goes there, bridge there. You've got the resources. You're just painting it out as you want it. All city builders should have that as a mode, because I've always said that's what I want city skylines to have, because I don't really care about economies and death rates and all things like that. I just want to put the roads to cities all together and just paint what I think would be really cool as a nice relaxing thing. This, despite being a stressful campaign, has that, and it is super relaxing, and I absolutely love that side of it. The campaign's fine, it's pretty decent, but for me, it's just that painting mode is where the game really stands out.
Oh, yeah, it's good when they find a niche that they can exploit. And yeah, I suppose there's a fair segment of the audience who actually want stuff like that, and it's not been catered for that often. So yeah, good one to focus on.
Yeah, definitely. It's got workshop and stuff like that to it, but there's not. When I played it, there wasn't much there yet. But I suppose it depends on the community, how big the community gets, and how involved the community gets with it post launch and everything. But as I said, I really enjoy it. There's like the scenarios. It's like 8 of them. I've done about halfway through the 6th scenario, so I've got 2 more to do, and I don't know if I'll unlock more stuff I can use elsewhere or anything. But yeah, it's just I'm having a really good time with it, surprisingly so.
Marvellous. Excellent.
What about Yay?
Ooh, I've been delving into something I don't normally bother with, I've been playing.
Is it a roguelike deck builder?
No, because I play some of them sometimes, just mainly because you force the codes on me, and I start crying, and you tell me to man up, and then it all goes wrong. But no.
Show me on the card where Bradley touched.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, been in that situation a lot of times. But no, this one is more, it's a kind of Braid alike in a way. And there's a lot of games that came out after Braid and that kind of thing, where they're kind of thoughtful platformers or thoughtful adventures. I don't know how to describe them really. And this one is Reanimal, which is by the people who did the Little Nightmares, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, by that team. Yeah, essentially what it is it's a European animation with kind of little animated puppets. That's what it looks like. And it's an adventure / slight puzzle / platform game. And you're in this nightmarish world. I won't say too much about it because the plot kind of it's fully visually narrative. There's no dialogue. It's purely told through the visuals, and you have to infer what's going on in the world. So I won't tell you too much, but obviously even looking at the promo material, you can see it's kind of a dark adventure where, you know, these horrible creatures are after you and you've got to try and escape. Yeah, so it's very much like that. What's the one that's in silhouette? It's like, you're a Limbo, that's the one. Yeah, the name of that dropped out of my head. Limbo, but in 3D kind of thing. So essentially you go around doing environmental puzzles to get past areas. There's stealth sections where you have to avoid enemies and things like that. And there are kind of, sort of platforming bits and mini puzzles. Can't really call them puzzles. There's nothing that really stretches the grey matter. It's just designed to be, an environmental kind of puzzles thing. But the real core of it is the atmosphere and the story that's sort of presented to you. So it's not really aiming for the gaming Twitch reactions. It's more about what you feel as you're engaging with it. And what you'll feel when you're engaging with it is very deep dread, probably a bit of depression, and a bleak output, really, a bleak outlook.
Just like playing Sonic 4.
Kind of like playing Sonic 4. Yeah. Not as bad as Sonic 4, obviously, but, what is. But, so it's this very, very dark adventure, which kind of fits with that whole Eastern European sort of 80s animation kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the whole Hungarian animated scene.
Yeah, exactly. It could be that. It could be Polish. It could be Czech. It's one. Definitely. Or it's Eastern Bloc in the time of the Soviets.
If you've ever been awake at 5 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, you turn on Channel 4, you've seen that animation.
Precisely, and it works very well, which is good because obviously it's got to draw you in. It's not about Twitch reactions. It's not about collecting a load of cards and opening more decks of cards and finding the best ones. It's about generating an environment in a kind of adult, grown-up kind of way. And to that end, it's very, very successful. You can see where they've built their reputation. It's trying to push the boundaries a little bit and trying to make things intelligently dark. A think piece, but also putting you in the centre of it, giving you that visceral feeling of being in trouble and being in danger, and it encapsulates that really well. And especially the fact that your characters are small and they're children, you feel persecuted in the way that children do, as well as on top of that there being nightmarish creatures around you. So it's extremely successful with that. My only caveat with these sorts of games is that, it's the caveat I have with loads of games, is that the gameplay for me isn't really there, like to where I think it should be. So there's like an event horizon for gaming for me. You can have your immersive sims or walking sims or whatever you want to call them, which I love, generally, telling you a story where you don't have much interactivity. That's great. But, when I'm playing those, I want them to be like Stanley Parable length. I want them to be, What Remains of Edith Finch kind of length.
Yeah, Gone Home, that kind
Gone
of thing.
Home. Yeah, you're talking between 1 to 3 hours. But because this has got a lot of gaming put on top of it, this is like a full duration kind of game, I expect. I mean, I've not completed it, but I'm about four hours or maybe 4 or 5 hours deep to it. So quite heavily in. And I just don't think that you can fuse those two things together. This is a personal feeling. I don't think you can fuse those things together particularly well. If you're going to have that duration and you're going to have all of those scenes and all of those things to overcome and accomplish, you've got to make it fun and on a reaction level and all of that. And I don't think it does that. But I'm more than willing to say that I'm on my own with that, or that I'm an outlier and that most people will really like it. It tells a great story. It's visually excellent. It's mature. It's clever. Yeah, it deserves your attention if you're into that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, no, you sound like you've described my thoughts towards Little Nightmares somewhat as well. Now, this is, if I'm correct, the developers of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, but before they were jibbed off for new developers on 3. So this is the developers of the original Little Nightmares games, not the lesser talked about third one.
Gotcha.
And it was something that probably me. I thought atmosphere-wise, oh my God, it was dripping. I thought the story was interesting in it, the sense of fear, dread, and everything there. That was all well put forward. But for me, the gameplay just wasn't enough to knit it together, and the gameplay was fine, but it wasn't enough to keep me engrossed and wanting to see the rest, which sounds like this possibly has a similar issue. If you love that sort of thing, then great, it is probably for you. But I'm with you, the Little Nightmares games didn't quite click for me, and it sounds like it's going to be the same issue with Reanimal as well, which is one of the reasons I've not sort of like taken the plunge on it yet.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I think they're extremely Marmitey, these sorts of things. They really will suck you in and you'll be absolutely devoted to them. Or you'll kind of be turned off. Depends what you're trying to draw from these experiences, really. And I have a great deal of, admiration for the fact that they can make it look like this, make it so atmospheric, and you're a part of that story. I think that's incredible. It's not really what I play games for very often, but I still admire it really very, very highly.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's no way you're like, I'm not saying like Little Nightmares are bad games, you're not saying this is a bad game. It's just I think they're for a certain subset of player who I loved Limbo. Limbo, for example, really just engrossed me start to finish. Absolutely start to finish, but that was a very short experience. That was some trial and error. It was some trial and error in it, but it was a short experience that had you literally from moment to moment doing something, thinking and acting. Whereas Little Nightmares, and sounds like with this as well, there's periods where there's a lot of here's atmosphere, but you're not doing much. And I think that takes you out of it somewhat, and it needs maybe a scalpel taken to a few sections of them.
I would look to sort of concentrate things and trim it down. But I mean, if you look at the price, especially if you look at the price of this, it's very much priced as a full price game, on Steam. And people equate duration with quality and value. So I suppose. I remember people getting angry over the Order 1886 because of its length, and it was one of the things I actually liked about it. Exactly.
There was a lot not to like about the Order 1886. The length was one of the things I did like.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't bother us, but it seems to bother a lot of people. So, but
this game needs to be 40 hours or it's not worth it.
Precisely, yeah. But if you like this sort of a game, you're going to love this one, I suppose.
Fair enough. Amazing. Talking of amazing.
Yeah.
You ever been stuck in a maze?
Not stuck, no.
Oh. Well, I've been playing a roguelike, of course I have, maze building game. We're not deck building, we're maze building.
Oh, really?
In MINOS. MINOS? Let's say MINOS. Let's say it's Greek. You are... you're the Minotaur. You are the Minotaur in this. So, Minos. We'll say minus. Minos? Tell me, Stu, what I'm calling it.
I don't know, really, because I don't really know Greek pronunciation. If we're going off Minotaur, it'd be Minos.
I've heard Minotaur. I've heard Minotaur.
Yeah.
We're gonna say Minos.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Minos. Yeah, it's a maze building roguelike where you basically need to defend your sanctuary. So it's also a bit tower defensy in there as well. So you start off and you've got like this sanctuary you've got to defend, and then there's different entrances to this maze. And as the game progresses, enemies will start coming from different entrances, and then you have to they go around the maze and they'll try and find their way to sort of like where it can like destroy your sanctum, and you've basically got to lay traps and defend against them, and you basically get a certain amount of money. It's not money, it'll be whatever the resource is. My mind's gone blank on what the resource is. You get enough resources that you can buy these traps and then lay them down, and then you can adjust the maze layout to guide the route so it goes through the traps and things like that. And each route you'll go off with maybe like 3 enemies are coming through, then next one you'll get 2 lots of 2 lots of 3 lots of 3, and it builds up like that. And you've just got to basically defend against them. And you'll get things like spike traps, arrows, fire pits, distraction things, and you can also go up to one of the enemies and fight them. But obviously you've got a health bar as well, so if you get into a fight, you lose health, they lose health, and eventually you lose the game. It's a really interesting concept, the fact that you can sort of like lay down all these traps and you can then readjust the maze, and you can set triggers, so you can send some enemies go down one way, one of them will walk on a trigger, close a wall, and send other enemies another way to another trap. And this can get really clever with it, and it's a really cool concept. However, there's a few things that really put me off with this and stop it being a must play, in my opinion. And that is, firstly, it looks like it was designed by the same team who done not Super Bomberman, was it Bomberman, whatever it was on Xbox 360?
Oh, yeah.
What was that horrible grey, just like brown one? So it's very hard to look. You're looking at it, and it's very hard to see what's going on at times, and differentiate what everything is. Everything's just this palette of brown. And I understand what it's going for. It's dark, it's gothic, etc., but it needs something there just to help things stand out. And even though you can zoom in and out, if it's quite minuscule, so you can only put your traps in certain areas on like trap blocks and stuff like that, which is fine. But you put them on, and it's not easy to tell what's being used, what's not being used, and things like that. And even when the enemies are coming through, they're not. Again, they kind of like just bury themselves into the background a bit. So you just kind of like, it's just like at a distance, it's just all one and the same. It's a bit muddied. And which is a shame, because the game itself, the gameplay is really good. It's got a bit of a naff tutorial, in all fairness. But once you figure it out, it's fine. I struggled early on with working out how to increase my resources to buy more stuff, because it felt like I was getting to it where I was putting down traps, but I just couldn't afford to buy more traps to deal with the other enemies. So I was having to hope I could just fight them off, and that didn't feel like I was doing anything right, and I wasn't collecting the resources I should be collecting, and I don't remember the game telling me exactly how to do it, or if it did, it wasn't very clear. And these are the sort of games where going there's no hand-holding doesn't work. You've got to make sure your opening levels guide you fully as to the mechanics. And again, I will go to Monster Train, Slay the Spire, games like that, yes, it's still the main thing, but they sort of like go, right, we'll do a run and we'll walk the run with you. we'll explain what this enemy is, what these specific rooms mean, how you can use this resource, how you can use that resource when they come up. This doesn't do enough of that. And it's just, I felt like I was going into it a bit blind. And with it being kind of bland to look at, meant that I had to really fight my way through to learn the mechanics, which is a shame because once I did learn the mechanics and start working out how you can really manipulate the world and manipulate labyrinths, it came together really well and I started enjoying it. But yeah, that opening couple of hours with it were, if I wasn't having to review it, there's a good chance it may have just gone dumped on the pile and I wouldn't have pushed through, which is a shame because once you get through, I think there's a very, very, very good game with a bit of a naff art style, if I'm being honest. But, you know, I looked if it was just me, and I feel maybe it is just me because it's got some decent reviews on Steam already, so people are enjoying it. So maybe I just want more colour in my life.
Very possibly. No, I agree. Looking at it, it does look a bit bland. I think they needed to go even more hyper stylized. I think they've gone for, it looks like a midway between, you know, being realistic and being stylized. And I think they should have just lent into the stylized side of it, really. But
yeah, and you can get away with that. I mean, there's like Myth Match and games like that, which are like Greek gods and stuff like that. They're beautifully coloured. So it can do it, and I get it's the underworld and the Minotaur and all that, but it could have done just a bit of colour or maybe some accessibility settings that really where everything is and do more there. I don't know what it like gameplay wise. Said it's really good once you get through the initial like, oh, now I get it. You could have told me that. But yeah, it's a very good game that needs, I think, a couple of tweaks, just a couple of minor tweaks to turn it into something that's definitely recommendable.
So what you're saying is you'd play it, but only a short time, which would be a minor tour. Yeah, you having that one, right?
Yes, a minor tour of the labyrinth.
Indeed, yeah.
And not a David Bowie insight.
Yeah, dance, magic dance.
But yeah, no, it's a weird one for games for me this week. There's been some like really good games that I just think need more.
Yeah,
maybe they need some AI help. No, they don't. No.
That'd be great if we exited it by saying, yeah, that's what we need. We need more AI interference in games.
Yeah. This is what humans are creating. But both, I mean, I think the one thing we can say, I think we've got 3 games this week that have all got fantastic ideas that are just short of being, you know, fantastic games, and as I said, decent games. At the same time, it's fine. I'd rather, if they're the ones we're going, oh, this is a bit negative, and they're still playable and good, we're not doing too badly, are we?
Exactly. They're definitely worth your attention by the sounds of it, but your mileage may vary.
Indeed. I've got another one coming up soon, which I'm about to start playing this week, called Syntopia, which is a mixture of Dungeon Master and like what's it called? Like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Intriguing.
Yes. Dungeon Keeper, rather, not Dungeon Master, Dungeon Keeper.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that one a go, see how that plays.
Very cool. Yeah, I've got a couple are coming up. Got that Aphelion, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, by Don't Nod, and that Pragmata as well is arriving tomorrow. So, yeah.
The more I'm seeing of Pragmata, the more I want to play it. Yeah, I'm up for that one.
Yeah.
Although you see the creepy bastards coming out. Have you seen one of them? Like,
no.
Got a bit attractive.
Try to avoid it.
Here they are. They're censoring the little girl. Why can't you choose what she wears?
Oh, bloody hell!
Don't put statements like that out. Don't care who you are.
No. Good lord,
Weird, creepy bastard. They try to follow it up. I'm going, no, I mean, like, I want to put, like, bow in her hair and stuff. No, you don't, you weird, creepy bastard.
Yeah, we know what you want to do. Just fuck off. Please.
Yeah. Please, yeah, just step away. Get yourself on a register. You weird freaks.
Yeah. I mean, it explains why you don't see a lot of kids depicted in games as, like, realistically, you know, because of creeps like that, you know. But, horrible.
Yeah, I thought it was creepy enough when people were saying about how they wanted Ellie to look and stuff like that in The Last of Us. Because, what was she, 17 in The Last of Us?
Yeah, I guess
something
she's
like
young,
that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no, that's wrong in of itself. But like this, what's it, Diana she called, or they called her in this, is a literal, 6-year-old child? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe 8, that sort of age. But
yeah, it's just like, ugh.
I know. And I'm just like, you know, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's dead cool. You know, there's like this character that's kind of, it's vulnerable and it's kind of, on the kind of non-fighty side of things, but it's got a lot of power. Whereas the bloke is like, you know, the big trudgy kind of mechy kind of one. And good, there's a good comparison there. But other people are thinking something completely different, which is very repulsive.
Because they're wrong uns.
Absolutely.
Yeah. On that note, play good games. Don't be a perv or a pedo or anything like that. Just don't do it.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah.
Oh no, there was my a brilliant line. I'm sorry, finish on something a bit comedic.
Go on.
I get clips of Saturday Night Live come through sometimes, and they done like showing like the American one, and they on their like weekend update they had a sex expert on, and like the idea was like it was quite funny. She was like a sex expert who had never had like sex and didn't really know what it was. At one point they're going through the conversation, and Michael Che's asking her questions and stuff like that. She turns around and you can tell bits that aren't, or some part people aren't scripted into it. She goes, yeah, there's 2 rules to sex. 1, have fun. 2, don't do rape. You just see his face just go, wow. What? And like, just the shock of that, she goes, what, you don't agree, Michael?
Wow.
And it's just like, it's one of those, Saturday Night Live is funny on the whole, but every now and again it has ones that are just absolutely, they're just like, they nail it. And it's honestly, it had me laughing. It was just an absolute brilliantly timed line where only one of them was in on it.
Yeah. Well, you know, comedy's supposed to be disruptive, and that certainly did it. Yeah.
It was really funny. It was just the fact because he's like just a flabbergasted just the pure straightforward what, you don't agree? He's just going, what? Yes, what? It's just,
you've ambushed me.
Yeah, it was really good. So instead of on the, I think we'll just finish on rape jokes instead.
Oh yeah, that's much better. Oh dear, no, but it
get me out of this show.
Yeah, will do. Yeah. No, it's something that's done in a kind of very kind of positive way. Just not to make fun of the subject, but to make fun of the people around it, which is the right way to do things. But yeah, I'm going to dig myself out of this hole now and end the podcast. So, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Make sure you're checking out the content on the website. Join us to chat on Discord if you fancy it. And until next week, stay safe and stay sane.